Did you know that in a single year, one porn website streamed more than 4,599,000,000 hours of porn? That's more than 52,000 years in 1 year on one porn website. That's equivalent to every single person alive today watching more than 30 minutes of porn every day. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Each year, the porn industry rakes in more than BP, Intel, Starbucks, Spotify, Dell, or even Ferrari, and the effects of watching porn are actually pathologically habit-forming. Marriage and family therapist Dr. Jill Manning said that at a very core level, it changes people. It changes their beliefs, it changes their ideas, it changes their behavior. In the last 10 years especially, we've seen an increase in the number of studies coming out showing the correlation and association between pornography use and domestic violence. And we know from a number of these studies that if someone is a regular consumer of pornography, their risk for becoming abusive and aggressive increases by at least a third. And the ripple effects are enormous. Well, that's from marriage and family therapist. I personally have seen the effects of porn use and addiction firsthand over a period of about 25 years. Now, many will argue that porn is made ethically and that all parties involved are just enjoying adult entertainment or making an honest living. I have actually seen firsthand how this is a lie. I have seen the deep fakes. I know how pornographers care little to nothing about the actual well-being of the performers in porn. You know, sex industry businessmen don't separate different arms of the sex industry. There isn't pornography over here, prostitution over here, and trafficking over there. They're interlinked. And that's, by the way, from Melissa Farley, PhD. She's the executive director of Prostitution Research and Education. And I don't say this to be an alarmist, because acting like the sky is falling with even serious problems is not the way to resolve them. I say all this to help educate you about the fact that this is, to be sure, a problem that people need to be less afraid to talk about. It's an issue that thrives in the darkness. I would know. It drags users and those they love into the darkness of disconnection, secrecy, loneliness, and worst, a lack of ability to see people as human rather than objects. One former porn actor, Greg Jacob, who became super famous in the industry, said this about his downward spiral. He says, there was a lot of drugs. I found myself addicted to cocaine, alcohol. See, for me, I had to go to work to do the porn so I could buy the drugs to bury the pain of doing the porn. So I'd go to work and do the porn so I could buy the drugs to bury the pain, and around it went. Former porn actress Deanna says of her experience, I think what makes the porn industry different than other forms of selling sex is the fact that everybody, forever, can watch some of the most horrible things I've experienced in life. Now, the beauty of the human condition is that our brains are neuroplastic. Dr. Simone Kuhn, PhD, she's the senior researcher at the Max Planck Institute for Human Development, has said we can train our brain in something and then grow that area, which means we have more capacity in that area to process incoming stimuli. So if you train your brain in a lot of math, your brain area that responds with math calculations is going to grow, and you're going to get better at this. The one exception to this, she illustrates in the next quote from her, I'll tell you, is with porn consumption. She continues, we basically illustrated that the more pornography people watch, the less strong the link is between the reward system and the prefrontal cortex. She says, pretty much my hypothesis was that the ventral stratum at the reward region should be bigger in those people watching pornography. And it's exactly the other way around. But again, the beauty of the human condition is that our brains can be trained to change. Dr. Donald L. Hilton, MD, He's the neurosurgeon and professor of neurosurgery at UT Health Center, Science, San Antonio. He said, an interesting study has showed that with a year or two of recovery, these shrunken areas actually enlarged again, back to normal volumes. So we know the brain heals. We've actually been able to visualize recovery. So there is always hope of recovery, but it has to start with awareness first. Porn is a problem, and that is all it is. Mountains of studies have shown there is nothing edifying or even chemically healthy about porn consumption. Quite the opposite, in fact. But studies have also shown that recovery from porn use is possible. I am evidence of that, and I invite you to learn more at fightthenewdrug.com.